Hey, help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also hit that like button to subscribe if you want more Cavs-focused content.
Cavs just played their first game of the season, and it wasn't what we were hoping it would be. Now, again, it goes without saying, the Cavs were without, three starters? Max Strus, who technically still a starter, DeAndre Hunter, who definitely is a starter now, and then Darius Garland. And look, I know a lot of people have their own takes on Darius Garland, but you're just not going to get around the fact that your team is going to always look a bit different and probably a little worse when they don't have their all-star point guard with them. And they didn't have their all-star point guard. And I thought that really affected the game pretty significantly, especially like in the end of it. There are some things about this game that matter in the short term. There are some things that matter in the long term. And really, if we're thinking about this Cavs season, we all understand on some level, whether we agree or not, about what this team could do in the postseason, that the short-term view for the Cavs is a conversation for last season, not really this season. This season is going to be all about the long term, and not like the long-term 5-year plan, but like the entirety of the season is being considered here, because I don't think a lot of people would care how many games the Cavs win, if they get over 65 wins, if they just get the 58 or something like that. If the Cavs don't have postseason success, that's going to judge this season more than the record that they're going to have, right? It's all about the postseason success. And I think the Cavs understand that that's where they are as a basketball team. And that comes with the realization that you're going to have to do things during the regular season that might sacrifice your ability to win games during the regular season, but will make you a better basketball team in the postseason. And we're seeing some of that play out with the Cavaliers right now. Now, again, you play the Knicks. I want you to beat the Knicks whenever you play the Knicks because, the Knicks, right? Like, who is out here wanting the Knicks to do good things outside of New York's, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's the Knicks, right? Like, gross. But other than that, right, you do understand you're trying to build some things. You're trying to get better in the playoffs. And look, we watched this Cavs team last year get off to the hottest start in NBA history. And we saw them get so incredibly cold at the end of the season. So a hot start is not going to excite this fan base. They saw the hottest start of all time last year, right? Doesn't mean shit anymore, right? A good finish is going to be the only thing that's going to stick right now with this team. So you're probably going to struggle a little bit here at the beginning of the season. No Darius Garland. Evan Mobley's kind of growing into a new role. There's going to be some growing pains there. Donovan Mitchell is trying to adjust to where he fits in there. You got Lonzo Ball, part of this rotation now, trying to figure out where he belongs here. Larry Nance, right? And you're trying to figure out all of this stuff defensively, where I think they really struggled tonight. All at the same time. So again, I'm going to be okay with growing pains, especially before the All-Star break, because it's just expected given the situation that they're in. And I think today we saw some growing pains here, right? Evan Mobley, I appreciate the approach to the game that they had with Evan Mobley. Now, the efficiency wasn't amazing. He was 8 of 18, but the aggressiveness, not just in terms of he's chucking up shots, but the aggressiveness in the shots that he's taking, the aggressiveness and lack of hesitation in these shots that he's taking, especially from three, that is exactly what I wanted to see. And in a way, it was exactly what I expected, right? When I talked about this with Tony Pesta earlier today, or at least you guys saw that conversation earlier today, I brought up that, hey, it might be pretty inefficient to start, right? It might not be the prettiest thing, but I'm okay with it That's exactly what this game was. Evan took a bunch of shots in the first quarter, took a bunch of shots in the second quarter, only took one shot in the third quarter, but Donovan Mitchell was going on for 22 at the time, so I understand it, right? And then went off, took like 4 shots in the fourth quarter as well, which is good, right? Like, again, he didn't completely disappear at the end of the game, showed up, asserted himself offensively, and even when he wasn't shooting, he was taking the ball, taking control of the offense. I think he even got an assist there. I liked his approach to this game, and I want him to continue it and just get better at it, right? I think the more he does it, the better he'll get at it. So that, to me, very encouraging. Loved how Evan Mobley looked. I'm encouraged by that. Donovan Mitchell, not much to take away here. We've seen this game from Donovan Mitchell so much, right? And look, Donovan Mitchell's so good that sometimes you could take it for granted. And I think, it's going to sound like I'm taking it for granted, but I'm truly not. I appreciate how good Donovan Mitchell is at basketball. But this is one of those games where Donovan Mitchell gets off to a little bit of a slow start, right? And then just starts going off for a quarter. And then he kind of cools out for the rest of the game after he goes off on the court. I think he did this in a game versus Indiana last year where he had like a bunch of points in the third quarter and then he just ran out of juice, right? This was the exact same thing. This is something that Darius Garland is very helpful in preventing, right? Like, if you've ever wondered what are the things that Darius Garland helps his team with, one, I think it's pretty obvious that Darius is very helpful for this team. But 2, this is another thing that Darius helps with, right? When Donovan Mitchell goes supernova and then cools off for the rest of the game because he got 22 and a quarter, Darius Garland is good to pick up the slack there from the scoring standpoint, right? Like, it's really nice to have a guy like Darius. It's really nice to have a guy like DeAndre Hunter. And hell, it's even nice to have a guy like Max Strus, right? So, Donovan went supernova. Nobody could really pick up the scoring mantle at that. I thought Sam Merrill did a nice job making some shots. I thought Evan Mobley did a nice job making some shots, but just not enough offensive firepower to win this game with as sloppy as the Cavs played on defense. And as much as the Cavs turn the ball over, right? Like, if the Cavs want to play with this many turnovers and this much slop on defense, then they got to have much more offensive firepower than they had in this game. And I think that's ultimately what did them in, right? Just sloppy 15 turnovers. Yes, New York turned the ball over 13 times as well, so they helped you out. But if you wanted to win this game, you're offensively shorthanded, you got to be significantly winning the turnover margin. Here's the one thing that does concern me, and I think it concerns everybody who's watched this Cavs team over the last few years. Cavs in this game had 32 rebounds, and the New York Knicks had 48. And the rebound thing, I don't know. I think my PTSD is giving me the instinct to make that a bigger problem right now than I actually know if it is. Because, again, I've lived through these series. with the Knicks. Whenever we get out rebounded by the Knicks, I'm like, oh, man, we're too weak. We're not big enough. We need to get heavier. But it might have just been an off night. Right. So I'll see how it happens. I'll let Kenny figure out his rotations, because that's another thing. Right. The rotations in this game were crazy, but that's just first game experimenting stuff. Right. So, I want to give Kenny time to figure out the rotations, because I do think that this team should be able to rebound much better, because they got Lonzo, who's a good rebounder, tall guard. Right. Larry Nance. They should be able to rebound. Like, even DeAndre Hunter, when he's a 3, he rebounds better than when he's a 4 for whatever reason. So I will put that concern in my pocket. I'm not going to forget about it, but it's in there, because that's always going to concern me here, right? But yeah, we've seen this story before from the Cavs, right? They don't make a ton of free throws. They don't rebound the ball well. They turn the ball over. They're not going to win that game. Especially if Darius isn't playing, especially if they just don't have the offensive firepower to just overwhelm a team. They have won games like this before against good teams, but it's usually because they can offensively overwhelm teams. Darius Garland out who they say he should be back real soon. We'll see what that timeline is. Same thing with DeAndre Hunter. They said he'll be back real soon as well. I don't know what the timeline is on Max Strus, but those two should be back real soon. So once you get those guys back, you're going to have the offensive firepower to just firebomb teams and not really care about this. My big concern is the rebounds and the defense from this game. And the things I liked were Evan Mobley's approach to it. I thought Sam Merrill was pretty solid in this one. And then who else did I like? Jalen Tyson had him a rough game, but he's young. Let him fight through it. I think he'll be helpful for you at the All-Star break, after the All-Star break, but he's probably not going to be helpful to you until then. Tyrese Proctor, I thought he gave you 16 solid minutes in this one. I thought he gave you 16 real solid minutes. Look, I don't know what Craig Porter Jr.'s future is on this team. I know a lot of people like him, but they just don't seem to trust him. And his plus minus was -9, which was the second worst on the team. I thought Lonzo was solid. If you just watch the game, if you're just going to look at the stat sheet, you're probably going to be like, Lonzo was terrible. But if you watch the game, I thought Lonzo really was like helping the flow of the offense, doing some good things there. Dean Wade, I thought he was pretty useful in his 28 minutes there. And I thought Larry Nance had some good minutes too as well. It's going to be interesting to see how Kenny sets these lineups as he gets more comfortable with this personnel that he has. But that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. Everybody have a great day. Have you better night. Peace.